Would you like to have a little bit of wisdom that's going to go a long, long way? Well, I'd like to talk to you about something that will give you so much power, yet it's so simple. Taking this one little thing and applying it to your life in any circumstance, in any way, will allow you to get through any circumstance and have power over it instead of it having power over you. So here it goes. What's that one thing? That one thing is responsibility. Now, immediately when we think about responsibility, we think, ew, that sounds like no fun. Something I don't want to do. Responsibility has to shift in the way that you view it. So let's look at responsibility like able to respond rather than a moral obligation. So if you are able to respond to something, that means you are capable of responding to it instead of it having power over you, or it having a reaction or action to you. You have power over it. You have a response to it. So if you have responsibility and the ability to respond, and you take responsibility for everything that occurs in your life, not just the little things, not just the easy things, but everything, then you can overcome any circumstance. So right about now you're probably saying, well, I can't have responsibility over everything in my life because, well, that car accident that I got into, that wasn't my fault. I'm not responsible for that. But you are able to respond to that. And every single thing in life has something to teach us. And if we take it on in that way, if we focus on it from that context, we have the capability of having power over it. Otherwise, that incident is outside of us. We don't get to gain any wisdom for that. We don't get any knowledge or understanding or learning from that. And what are you here for? You're here to learn. This is the learning planet. So everybody on this planet learns, evolves, and grows. So your power tool is responsibility. So you get into a fight with your spouse or your child or someone at work. The first question that you need to ask yourself, instead of blaming them or disagreeing with them, is how can I take responsibility for this situation? How did I create this? And when you start to ask that question, for the first time you have power over that situation. So perhaps your boss is mad at you. Well, if you are able to respond to that situation, you would logically ask yourself, how did I create that response to me? And in asking that question, all of a sudden a whole new way of thinking is available to you. Because before, you were right and therefore they were wrong. But now the context has shifted and you can say, how can I take responsibility for this situation? What is there for me to learn? What do I need to understand? How can I be over there in their world and realize what's going on for them, that they would have that reaction? And you, in that moment, may be able to see things that you couldn't see before. So when we take responsibility for everything that occurs to us, whether it's finances are not working as well as we'd like them to, or we don't have the relationship that we want in our lives, and we say, how did I create that? How can I respond to that? Am I willing to be able to respond in a way that is going to create the result I want? Then you have power. So whatever it is that you're working on that is not where you want it to be, ask yourself that question. How can I respond? How am I responsible for this outcome? What is there for me to see and learn, and then recreate a structure that's going to allow me to succeed the next time? Instead of going around and around and around and around the mulberry bush in that same scenario, in that same cycle happening over again. So that's lesson number 1, responsibility.